quick book recap. Okay, so today we're diving into Tony Robbins' book, Money, Master the Game. And it's not just another get-rich-quick thing. It feels more like a real plan for financial security.
Exactly. Like a blueprint for independence, for freedom.
Yeah, and getting past those bad money habits we all kind of fall into. It draws on all his work, studying, like, what makes people excellent.
Totally. And, a big thing the book gets into right away is how the whole money world can seem confusing on purpose. Like, this system sometimes benefits if we stay, well, a bit in the dark. So our goal here is really to cut through that noise.
Yeah.
Make it simpler.
Yeah, because I think everyone feels that sometimes, right? Like, oh, investing, that's too complicated, or that's just not my area. Why do you think so many smart people feel, like, overwhelmed by money stuff?
Well, it's a really common feeling. The book describes it like a high-tech, high-risk maze. And you're right, it feels like that. Everyone's got an opinion or a hot tip, But most of it doesn't actually help build real wealth. It's kind of like arguing online about, like, religion or politics.
Right, lots of heat, not much light.
Exactly. Lots of emotion, not much solid info. The book uses this analogy, like, would you take health advice from a psychologist who's really struggling themselves? Or, fitness tips from someone who's clearly not fit?
Probably not.
Right. You want advice from someone who's actually walked the walk, someone with a proven track record, not just someone who sounds convincing.
That makes total sense. And it connects to that feeling of being stuck, Like, you work, you get paid, you spend it, then you got to work more.
Yeah.
You hear about people like that boxer Floyd Mayweather apparently having no income except when he fought. Is that cycle, that zero-sum game the book talks about, is that really how it is for most folks?
Sadly, yeah, for a lot of people it is. The book nails it. It's a zero-sum game because the main money machine is, well, it's you. Your time, your effort. And if you stop working, the money stops.
Yeah.
The whole point, the big shift the book pushes for, is building a different kind of machine. One that makes money for you, even when you're not actively working.
Okay, like passive income?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Even when you're sleeping. That's the goal, right? Real financial independence.
Yeah, that sounds amazing, especially thinking about retirement. Social Security, I mean, it's not really enough, is it? And the stats in the book are kind of scary. Like, over half of households might not have enough for retirement, many with less than $1,000 saved.
It's sobering, yeah.
So if we know we need to save, why is it so hard to actually, do it?
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. The book talks about these things called cognitive illusions. Basically, our brains trick us.
How so?
We think we're making totally rational decisions about money, like it's all free will. But often it's not. Think about organ donation rates. In some countries, tons of people donate. In others, very few. It feels like a personal choice, right?
Yeah.
But often it just comes down to whether the form asks you to opt in or opt out. The way it's framed totally changes the outcome. It's not about willpower alone.
So our brains kind of work against us sometimes with money.
They can, yeah. But the cool thing is, the book gives you ways to sort of design systems to outsmart those brain tricks, to make saving almost automatic.
Okay, so it's about setting things up right, not just trying harder.
Yeah.
So what's the very first step, like the most important thing the book says to do?
Right. The number one thing, the most crucial decision, is deciding how much of your income you actually get to keep for yourself, for your future.
Okay.
The book calls it your freedom fund. It's the slice you take off the top before you pay anyone else, before bills, before anything. You pay your future self first.
Paying yourself first, I've heard that.
Yeah, and that decision, that specific percentage you commit to saving, when you mix it with the power of compounding.
Yeah.
Wow, that's the real launch pad.
Compounding, like money making more money.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's more than that. It's like a snowball rolling downhill. It starts small, but it picks up speed and gets bigger and bigger, faster and faster. It's incredibly powerful over time.
Okay, I get the concept, but honestly, the first thought is, but where does that money come from? Like, I feel stretched thin already. Every dollar seems to have a job. How do people find this extra money for a freedom fund?
That's the million-dollar question, right? And it's a totally valid feeling. Most people don't think they can afford to save for this future self because, well, future you doesn't feel as real as right now you.
Yeah, exactly.
But the book flips it. It says, we can't afford not to save. Think about it. If a real emergency hit tomorrow, you'd find a way, wouldn't you?
I guess. Yeah, probably.
So treat your financial future with that same urgency. And there's this amazing story in the book about an 87-year-old woman, McCarty.
Okay.
She just worked hard, saved diligently, let her money work for her. Simple stuff. By 87, she'd saved $150,000. Yeah. Enough to start a scholarship fund, and she even bought herself an air conditioner, which apparently she'd always wanted. It just shows what consistent effort can do, you know?
That's actually really inspiring. Okay, so you find the money, maybe start small. But how do you make it stick? How do you make saving a real habit, not just something you try for a bit?
Right, because just knowing isn't enough. The book says, knowledge is not power, it's potential power. Execution is mastery. Execution.
Yeah, you have to do it consistently. And the best way, make it automatic.
Automatic.
Set up an automatic transfer. Money goes from your paycheck straight to your freedom fund, your savings or investment account, before you even have a chance to spend it.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Pretty much. The book suggests starting with at least 10%. But here's the really clever bit.
Okay.
Commit to automatically increasing that savings percentage every time you get a raise. Add maybe like 3% more.
So if you get a 5% raise, you save 3% of it and only spend the other 2%. Exactly. It's called the Save More Tomorrow Plan. Richard Thaler, a Nobel Prize winner, showed it helped regular workers save up to 19% of their income over just 5 years. And they barely felt it because they never got used to having that extra money in the first place.
Ah, that's smart. It kind of hacks your own psychology.
Totally. It uses those brain quirks for you, not against you.
Okay, so that Save More Tomorrow sounds really doable. But just starting that initial 10%, if you're feeling really squeezed, how do you get over that hump mentally?
Yeah, it can feel like a big leap. The key is changing how you see it. It's not taking away from today. It's an investment in your future freedom.
Right. Reframing it.
Yeah, prioritize it. And hey, if 10% feels like too much right now, start with 1% or 3%. The automatic part is the magic. Once it's running, you just adapt. And that future you starts feeling a bit more real, a bit more worth investing in.
Okay, I'm getting it. Automate, start somewhere. So let's say we're doing that. We're saving consistently. The big question then is, where do we put the money? Are there like hidden traps or things Wall Street tells us that aren't quite right?
Oh, absolutely. The book dives right into that. It calls them the 9 myths that Wall Street kind of pushes. Knowing the truth behind these is like becoming an insider.
An insider, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so give me one of these myths. What's something surprising the book reveals about, say, investment returns?
Okay, here's a big one. Myth 3. The idea that what you see is what you get with investment returns.
Meaning the returns they advertise.
Exactly. The book shows that's often, well, not true. The returns that mutual funds report can be way different from what you, the actual investor, end up earning.
How different?
Hugely different sometimes. The book uses the Dow Jones Index going way back to 1930.
Yeah.
The average reported return was like 6.31%. Sounds all right.
Yeah.
But the actual return people got, after fees and maybe bad timing, only 4.31%.
That doesn't sound like a huge difference, 2%.
But over decades, it's massive. That $1,000 invested back then, at the reported rate, it would grown to $142,000.
Wow.
But at the actual rate, only $30,000.
What? That's over $100,000 difference.
Right. The book calls it lipstick on a pig.
Yeah.
Making something look way better than it really is.
That's actually shocking. Why does that even happen? And who are we protecting ourselves from?
Well, often it's the people you think you should trust, right? Brokers, fund managers, even those high-speed traders. There was this study by Morningstar back in 2009. It found that almost half, 49% of active mutual fund managers owned 0 shares in the funds they were managing for other people.
Seriously, they didn't even invest in their own product.
Nope. It's like the chef who won't eat their own cooking.
Yeah.
It screams conflict of interest, doesn't it? There's that old Wall Street saying, we're the customers' yachts.
Implying the brokers have yachts, but the clients don't.
You got it.
Okay, so how do we find someone we can trust? Someone who's actually looking out for us?
This is super important. The book makes a really clear distinction between a broker and a fiduciary.
Okay, what's the difference?
Think of it like this. The butcher versus the dietitian.
Okay.
A butcher makes money selling meat. So what are they going to tell you to buy?
Meat.
Always meat. But a dietitian, their job, legally, is to tell you what's best for your health, even if they don't sell it.
Right.
Fiduciaries are like the dietitians. They are legally required to act in your best interest. They can't just push a product on you because they get a bigger commission. Their advice has to be for your benefit. It's a huge difference.
Butcher versus dietitian. Got it. That's a great way to think about it. What about those target date funds? Lots of people have those in their 401ks. They seem simple, set it and forget it. Is there a catch there too?
Yeah, that's myth 6. Target date funds just set it and forget it. The big issue the book points out is something called pay-to-play fees.
Pay to play.
Get this, 90% of 401k plans basically make the mutual funds pay money just to be offered as an option on the menu.
What? So the choices I have aren't necessarily the best. They're the ones who paid to be there.
Often, yeah. The menu is kind of crafted to make money for the 401k provider and the fund companies, not always to give you the absolute best performance or lowest cost.
That feels wrong.
It's not ideal. The book does mention Vanguard as a big company that doesn't do this pay-to-play stuff, which is good to know. But yeah, and what's worse, a law back in 2006 actually made these target date funds the default option in many plans. So people get put into them automatically, often without really understanding the fees or these potential conflicts.
Wow. Okay, definitely need to look closer at those 401k options then. All right, so shifting gears a bit. The book talks a lot about setting clear goals. What are the different kinds of financial freedom it describes?
Right. Having a target is crucial. It outlines 5 levels. First is financial security. That's enough passive income, money coming in without you working, to cover your absolute basic needs, roof over your head, food, utilities, transport, basic insurance, just the essentials.
Okay, the basics covered. What's next?
Then comes financial vitality. That's your security number plus a bit extra for some fun stuff, small luxuries, eating out, that kind of thing.
Makes sense.
After that is financial independence. This is the big one for many. Enough income from your investments that working becomes optional. You don't need the paycheck anymore.
That's the dream for a lot of people, right?
Totally. Then there's financial freedom. This means enough income to fund your ideal lifestyle, whatever that looks like for you. Travel, hobbies, nicer things, whatever.
Okay, and the last one?
Absolute financial freedom. Basically, an unlimited lifestyle, plus the ability to give generously, make a big impact, without ever worrying about the cost.
Those sound, well, big, especially the later ones. How does the book help you figure out what those numbers actually are for your life? Make them seem, possible.
Yeah, they can sound intimidating just as concepts, but the book provides a tool, a wealth calculator, it's in the app too, that helps you crunch your specific numbers for each level.
So it's personalized.
Exactly. And that makes a huge difference. There's a story about a woman, Angela. She thought she needed like $3 million just for basic financial security. It felt totally impossible.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But she used the calculator and realized, based on her actual basic expenses, about $34,000 a year, she only needed a nest egg of $640,000 to generate that passively.
Okay, still a lot, but way less than $3 million.
Right. It suddenly felt achievable. It gave her clarity, certainty, and that motivation to actually do something. There's another story about Ron and Michelle who wanted financial freedom so they could donate a $100 case a year to their church from their investments. Having that clear why makes the how much easier to tackle. Knowing your numbers changes everything.
Yeah, turning vague dreams into actual numbers you can shoot for. Okay, so once you have those numbers, what does the book suggest to speed things up? How can you get there faster?
Great question. It offers some really practical speed-up strategies, things you can actually do. Okay, first, mortgages. Did you know on a typical 30-year mortgage, especially in the early years, like 80% of your payment can be just interest?
80%?
Yeah, it's wild. It's the banker's secret. But the book shows how just prepaying a little extra each month, maybe a couple $100, can shave years, even a decade or more, off your loan. On a big mortgage, that could save you hundreds of thousands in interest.
Wow, okay, paying extra on the mortgage. What else?
Your car. Now, it's not saying you have to drive a clunker, but it tells a story about Tony's son who had this leased BMW. The point is, if you're not hitting your savings goals, you need to look hard at where the money's going. A big car payment might be holding you back more than you realize. Making a conscious choice there can free up a lot of cash.
Okay, conscious choices.
Then there's the famous latte factor from David Back.
Oh yeah, the daily coffee thing.
Exactly. It seems small, right? $4 or $5 a day. But that $4 daily coffee,
Yeah.
invested over 20 years at maybe 6%. That's nearly $56,500 you didn't save.
56 grand for coffee.
Yeah. And if it's a $10 a day habit,
Yeah.
that's over $141,000. Enough for college. It forces you to see how small habitual spending adds up massively.
Okay, that hurts a little. What about bigger impulse buys?
There's a cool strategy from someone named Lisa in the book. If she saw something she just had to have, she'd take a picture and send it to her husband. He then had 2 weeks to try and find it cheaper online.
And did he?
Apparently, 80% of the time, he found it 20–30% cheaper. Just building in that little delay and check saved them a ton.
That's clever.
And finally, a really big one, understanding taxes. The book says knowing how taxes work can speed up your journey by 30–50% with no extra risk.
How?
It compares, say, getting an 8% return in a regular high-fee mutual fund. After fees and taxes, especially if you're in a higher bracket, you might only actually net 3%. It would take 24 years to double your money. But using something like a low-fee index fund, maybe in a tax-advantaged account, you might keep more like 7.5% after minimal fees and deferred taxes. Your money doubles way, way faster. Knowing those IRS-approved tax-saving strategies is huge, especially since nobody knows what tax rates will be in the future.
Okay, those are really powerful levers. Mortgage, car, small habits, impulse control, and taxes. Definitely things to think about. So we're saving, we're accelerating. Now, how do the really wealthy investors actually manage their money? How do they handle risk and growth?
Right. The book boils down the approach of many top investors into a simple concept: the two-bucket strategy.
2 buckets.
Yeah. Bucket one is your security peace of mind bucket. This is for the money you absolutely cannot afford to lose. The goal here is capital protection and predictable, even if slower, growth.
What goes in there?
Things like maybe some bonds, money market funds. If you have a pension, and the book strongly warns against cashing those out, telling a story about an expert who lost money trying to invest her own pension lump sum, that's definitely security. And certain types of annuities, like fixed-indexed annuities, fit here too. It's the safe money.
Okay, safe and steady. What's bucket 2?
Bucket two is your risk growth bucket. This is where you aim for higher returns, but you accept that there's more risk involved. The book is really clear. Growth is not guaranteed, but risk is.
So you could lose money in this bucket.
Absolutely. Jack Bogle, the Vanguard founder, always said, markets revert to the mean, basically. What goes way up often comes back down. And Ray Dalio, a legendary hedge fund manager, warns that even your favorite investment could drop 50%, even 70%.
Yikes.
Yeah. There's a cautionary tale about a guy, Jonathan, who made $150 million, but then put it all into the Las Vegas real estate boom just before it crashed. Ignored the idea of its security bucket completely.
No, what happened?
Lost everything and more. A painful lesson about why you need both buckets, one for safety, one for growth.
Okay, 2 buckets make sense. But how does someone like me, an average person, get that kind of smart diversification, that balance?
For most individual investors, the single best tool the book champions is the low-fee index fund.
Index funds again?
Yep. David Swenson, who managed Yale's massive endowment incredibly successfully, said it flat out: the best way to diversify is to own the index. You're essentially buying a tiny piece of the entire market.
So you're not picking individual stocks.
Exactly. And Jack Bogle, he reckoned investing is like 95% luck, 5% skill. He used this coin flipping analogy.
Okay.
Imagine 1,000 people flipping coins. Statistically, one person will flip heads 10 times in a row. You'd call him lucky, right?
Yeah, definitely lucky.
But in finance, Bogle said that person gets called a genius. His point was most managers who beat the market for a short time are just lucky. And the stats back it up. 96% of active mutual funds failed to beat the basic market index over 10 years.
96%.
Yeah. And people pay high fees, often around 2% a year for that underperformance. Those fees absolutely crush your long-term returns. Bogle showed how $1 could grow to $30 over 50 years with low costs, but only $10 with typical high mutual fund fees. Even Charles Schwab says index funds are the way to go for 98% of people.
Wow. Low-cost index funds seem like a no-brainer then. Are there specific habits or disciplines the pros use with their investments, besides just buying index funds?
Yes. 2 really important ones the book highlights. First is rebalancing.
Rebalancing, what's that?
It just means sticking to your plan. Let's say you decided you want 60% in your growth bucket and 40% in your security bucket.
Okay.
But maybe stocks do really well, and suddenly your growth bucket is 75% of your total money. Rebalancing means you sell some of those winning stocks to get back to your target 60%, maybe putting the profit into your security bucket.
So you're kind of taking profits automatically?
Exactly. It forces you to sell high and buy low, or at least lower. The book gives an example with Apple stock selling some when it was way up. Would have saved you from a big drop later. It takes discipline, but it works.
Okay, rebalancing. What's the second one?
Dollar cost averaging.
That sounds technical.
It's actually super simple. It just means investing the same amount of money regularly, like every month, no matter what the market is doing.
So you buy whether prices are high or low.
Yep. You don't try to guess the perfect time to jump in or out because nobody can do that consistently. If you invest the same dollars each month, you automatically buy more shares when prices are low and fewer shares when prices are high. It smooths out your cost over time and takes the emotion out of it.
Right, avoids trying to time the market. That makes sense. But what about those huge out-of-the-blue market crashes? Is there a way to protect yourself from those big surprises?
That leads to Ray Dalio's all-seasons portfolio idea. Dalio's famous for predicting the 2008 crash.
Okay, so he knows about risk.
Definitely. His whole philosophy is that different investments do well in different economic seasons. Times of high growth, low growth, high inflation, low inflation. You don't know which season is coming next.
Right.
So the key is to build a portfolio that has something that can do okay in any season. Diversify your risk.
How does he suggest doing that?
His sample allocation, the one in the book, is pretty specific. 40% in long-term U.S. government bonds, 30% in stocks, like broad index funds, 15% in inflation-protected bonds, TIPS, 7.5% in gold, and 7.5% in commodities.
That's a specific mix. Does it work?
Historically, incredibly well. The book shows it averaged nearly 10% a year over 30 years, made money 86% of the time, and when it did lose, the losses were usually pretty small. It even handled the crazy high inflation of the 70s really well. The point isn't necessarily that exact mix, but the idea of being prepared for anything the economy throws at you.
Being ready for any season. I like that. Okay, this all helps build wealth, but what about turning that wealth into actual income you can live on, especially in retirement when people are living so much longer?
Yeah, income is freedom. It's a huge theme.
Yeah.
And the game has totally changed, right? Pensions that paid you for life. Mostly gone. So now it's on us to make our money last. And like you said, we're living longer, average is around 80. But for a married couple, there's a 1 in 4 chance one of them hits 97.
97. That's a long time to make your money last.
Exactly. And market timing matters hugely here. The book tells this sad story of John. He retired with $500,000, but the market tanked right at the beginning. That sequence of returns risk cut his savings in half, and the money ran out when he was 83. It's terrifying.
Oh man, that's the nightmare scenario. So what's the solution? How do you guarantee you don't outlive your money?
The main solution the book explores is annuities and calls them income insurance.
Annuities. I've heard of those, but they seem complicated or maybe have a bad rap.
They can seem complex, and yes, some have high fees, so you need to be careful. Yeah. But the basic idea is simple, almost like buying your own personal pension. You give an insurance company a chunk of money, and they promise to pay you a certain amount every month for the rest of your life, no matter how long you live.
Guaranteed for life. How can they promise that?
It works because of something called mortality credits. They pool thousands of people's money. People who sadly pass away earlier than expected leave some money behind in the pool, and that helps fund the payments for the people who live really long lives.
So the risk is shared.
Exactly. The book jokes, if you're dead, who cares? But it also says you can usually add options so your heirs get something back, or use cheap term life insurance if that's a concern.
Are there different kinds?
Yeah, 2 key types are highlighted: deferred annuities or longevity policies. These are really interesting. You put in a smaller amount when you're younger, say $100 K at 65, and the income doesn't start until much later, maybe age 85. But because of that long deferral and the mortality credits, the payout can be huge, like $64,000 a year starting at 85 for life. It basically insures you against living too long, taking pressure off your other retirement savings.
So it covers the later years. What's the other type?
Fixed indexed annuities, FIAs. These are pretty cool. They offer 100% protection of your principal. You literally can't lose the money you put in.
Guaranteed not to lose money. How?
The insurance company guarantees it. But you also get to participate in some of the stock market's growth. If the market index goes up, you get a piece of that upside. The insurance company takes a bit for providing the guarantee. If the market goes down, your principal is totally safe. Zero loss.
So potential growth, but no downside risk.
Basically, yes. It's a powerful combination for that security bucket, providing income you can count on.
Okay, this has been incredibly helpful breaking down these strategies. But even with all this knowledge, saving, investing, annuities, what's the biggest thing that still stops people? What's the final hurdle?
Yeah. The book calls it Myth 9, the lies we tell ourselves.
The lies we tell ourselves.
Yeah. Ultimately, the biggest thing holding us back often isn't the market or the fees or the complexity. It's our own internal stuff, our limiting beliefs, our fears, the stories we tell ourselves about why we can't do it.
Like, I'm not good with money, or it's too late for me.
Exactly those kinds of things.
Yeah.
The book hits hard with this idea. We all get what we tolerate. We need to stop tolerating financial uncertainty or struggle. We need a breakthrough.
A breakthrough.
Yeah, those moments, maybe driven by frustration or inspiration, where suddenly the impossible feels possible. The book even mentions Amy Cuddy's research on power posing.
Oh yeah, stand like Superman.
Kind of. Just changing your posture for 2 minutes can actually change your body chemistry, make you feel more confident and assertive. It shows how much our internal state affects our ability to act.
So it really comes back to mindset, even after all the financial tactics. And the book seems to connect this to something bigger than just money, right?
Absolutely. It goes much deeper. It quotes Tony's mentor, Jim Rohn. What you get will never make you happy long term, but who you become and what you contribute will.
Who you become and what you contribute.
Yeah. And Tony shares this really moving story from his own childhood. He was 11, his family was poor, no food for Thanksgiving, and a total stranger showed up with a huge basket of food.
Wow.
That act of kindness completely changed him. At 17, working as a janitor, he saved up and managed to feed 2 families himself. And he realized that feeling was incredible. His big takeaway: the secret to living is giving.
The secret to living is giving.
Yeah. True happiness from money, the book argues, isn't about how much you pile up. It's about how you use it, especially to help others, to contribute to something beyond yourself.
That really reframes the whole goal, doesn't it? It's not just about me, me, me. What kind of impact does that contribution actually have?
The book uses Andrew Carnegie as an example. One of the richest men ever. Spent the first half of his life making money, second half giving almost all of it away.
He built all those libraries, right?
Yeah. Thousands of them. Basically doubled the number in the U.S. He totally changed the definition of success from accumulation to contribution. And the book points out our collective potential. Americans spend like over $320 billion a year on entertainment.
Billion?
Yeah. A tiny fraction of that, like $10 million pocket change comparatively, could provide 100 million meals for people in need. It highlights the power we have when we think about community and giving. And it reminds us, most people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in a decade or two.
Underestimate what we can do long term.
Exactly. And it ends looking forward, mentioning how technology like 3D printing organs or homes and ideas about exponential growth might totally change our ideas about scarcity in the future. It leaves you feeling hopeful.
That's a powerful arc from personal finance tactics to global contribution and future possibility.
It really is. So you've taken this deep dive, you've got the knowledge now. But like we said, knowledge is just potential. Execution is mastery. So the challenge is acting on it. Pay yourself first, automatically. Know the myths to avoid. Make a real plan with actual numbers. Diversify simply with things like index funds. Figure out that lifetime income piece with tools like annuities. And yeah, embrace that power of contribution.
It boils down to those core actions and remembering, you're not just stuck with whatever circumstances life throws at you. You're the creator of your life.
Absolutely.
So the real question for everyone listening is, what's one small thing, one single action you can take, like today, to start that breakthrough in your own financial life? And how will taking that step not just help you, but maybe ripple out and create more joy and meaning for others too?